What's up, you guys? Welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Eshi and I do a ton of DIY, personal finance videos, and most recently I have moved from Detroit, Michigan to San Diego, California, so I have been doing a moving series. If you've missed any of those videos, I will leave the link right here to the playlist. In today's highly anticipated video, we are going to review how much it cost me to move across the country. And the numbers may be a little shocking to you and to me. Before we get started, if you could do me a huge favor and hit that like button, it just helps me out so much. And if you are interested in seeing what I am doing with our new apartment, you have a sneak preview of it behind me. Please don't forget to hit subscribe. So when we were planning our move, we were trying to figure out what the best method of moving was. Was it to rent a U-Haul, put all of our stuff in there, and drive all the way across the country with our two cats? Or was it to hire a moving company, hire an auto transport company, and just fly with us and our two cats? First thing that helped us make this decision were a couple of quick estimates on how much each option was going to be. If we were to rent a U-Haul and put all of our stuff in the back, and also rig it so that our car was on the back of the U-Haul, drive for about 4 days with our cats and make pit stops every night at hotels and make it all the way to San Diego, California, we kind of estimated that our costs would be somewhere around $5,000. And yes, $5,000 is a ton of money. It is no small amount. But on top of spending that money, we would have to do all of the work. Driving across the country is no small feat, and on top of that, we would be lugging all of our stuff and our car behind us. Not to mention, we would be driving maybe around 10 hours a day. And that is all on top of the fact that we have two very antisocial, very anti-change cats that we'd have to keep cooped up in their pet carriers for all of those 10 hours every single day. So when we were going through this plan, it just didn't really make sense for us to take our cats with us if we were gonna do this. So really what we would have to do is we would have to keep our cats in Michigan, have someone pet sit them. We would drive ourselves all the way across the country with all of our stuff in our car, put all of our stuff in our apartment in San Diego, fly back to Michigan, grab our cats, and fly back with them. So that was plan A. And again, that is why that $5,000 kind of makes sense. It had to include some of the flights. Plan B was to hire a moving company to move all of our stuff for us and to hire a car transportation to move our car to San Diego. And then we ourselves would fly out of Detroit with our two cats straight to San Diego. Chumley actually did a lot of the research to figure out which moving companies and which car transportation companies to go with, who were reliable, had good reviews, had insurance. He did a lot of this research actually on Reddit, so definitely look to Reddit for some of your research. When we were estimating for plan B to compare to plan A, we were thinking that the moving company would cost somewhere around $4,000 and that the car transportation would cost somewhere between $2,000. So in total, around $6,000 compared to plan A, which was around $5,000. It was very clear to us after we did these estimations and research that we should go with plan B. Having to drive across the country with a bunch of stuff and our car hooked on the back was just a very scary thought to me. And if we made it to San Diego safely, the way the flight timings were working, we would have to drop off everything into our apartment that day and then be ready for a flight the next morning to go grab our cats from Detroit and then come to San Diego again. It would just be on the go for like a full week, no rest. It just did not seem like a good option to us. So we went with plan B, which was hiring a moving company and a car transportation company. So first, let's talk about the moving company and how much it cost. We used a company that came with insurance, which actually ended up being a very vital part of this whole process because there were a lot of things that broke in the move, including our 65-inch TV. So I would highly recommend that you guys find a moving company that also comes with insurance. We worked with a company called United Van Lines. They were our moving company, and though we definitely did have to use up their insurance and talk to multiple people to get our reimbursements for a bunch of the things that were broken in the process, we did get all of our money back. So overall, I was a little disappointed that our stuff got to San Diego a little broken, but I was happy that we got our money back through their insurance claim policy. So when we were deciding on how we were going to do all of this, we decided that we were going to pack everything ourselves to save on that little extra cost of them coming in and packing up our stuff. When we were setting up an estimate through our moving company, what they did was we actually had a video call, and I took them through our entire apartment and showed them every piece of furniture I wanted to take. We opened up cabinets, we opened up closets. We basically just showed them our entire apartment and everything we planned on packing and all the major pieces of furniture we planned on taking. I also had to give them measurements for the bigger pieces of furniture, and they took that video and they sent us an estimate back. And if you decide to agree and sign that contract, that estimate, that amount is locked in place. So it's not going to fluctuate by the time that you are actually ready to go and move. During our moving time, this whole Russia-Ukraine thing was really starting to pick up, and we knew that the price of gas was going to skyrocket. And so we kind of moved pretty fast to lock in that rate before anything changed. And I'm kind of glad that we did, because gas rates skyrocketed, just like we knew it would. Our moving company ended up costing $6,220. This was for our around 3,500 pounds worth of stuff that was fully insured at around $21,000. The moving company alone already exceeded that initial estimate for Plan B overall. So already we were in the hole by $500. It was okay, we did have some savings and we were prepared to pay that full amount just for a stress-free, or as stress-free as it could be, process. Now, as there always are, there were a couple additional costs that I want to tell you about when it came to the moving company. So we had 2 movers come in and move all of our boxes in Detroit, and we had to give them a tip. So in total, that tip amount was $90 in Detroit. We also bought them lunch when they were moving our stuff all day, which ended up being $45. The moving supplies that we had to spend on ourselves were all of the boxes, the tape, the packing styrofoam, all of that stuff we actually got mostly through U-Haul themselves. That cost around $275. I was super shocked by this amount. I did not realize that buying all of our moving boxes and packing supplies would cost that much. So if you were able to get free boxes from grocery stores, friends and family, Facebook Marketplace even, do that. I highly recommend it. We also ended up having to rent a U-Haul to move the couches that we had back in Detroit back to my mom's house. Those couches were actually my mom's, and we had borrowed those while we were living in Detroit. So when we wanted to move across the country, we were going to leave those behind in Detroit and get a new couch here. So renting that U-Haul for that one day for those couches was $135. When we got to San Diego, we had another 2 movers help move all of our stuff into our apartment. So the tips for that was $100. And then we also ended up buying them lunch for helping us, and that was $70 total. So that was all the money that we spent on the moving company alone. So now let's talk about the car transportation company. Again, Chumley did all the research on this, and a lot of it was from Reddit on which car companies are reliable and, won't steal your car. Some of them have trackers on your car so you can see exactly where your car is. There's a couple different options. You can do uncovered transportation. We actually chose to do covered transportation because obviously it is safer for your car that way. It's less likely to get damaged, scratched up if there's a hailstorm when they're driving. And it's actually really funny. I'll insert a clip right here. But when the car was being picked up in Detroit and being dropped off in San Diego, the other cars in that huge truck that was being hauled were sports cars. They were luxury cars, and next to those luxury cars was our little Subaru Legacy. It was just adorable, but it was kind of a sign that our car was going to be perfectly okay in there. I don't quite remember, but I believe that this car company came with some insurance coverage for like minor scratches. You will have to double check when you book yours, so don't quote me on that. But we went through Sherpa Auto Transport, and we ended up paying $2,400 for the full trip. They worked the same way as the moving company. They sent us an estimate, and you were able to sign within a time frame, and they would lock in that amount. On top of that $2,400 charge, we opted to give the driver a tip as well. He was a really, really nice guy, and he clearly took care of our car, so we gave him a $100 tip. Now, we've talked about the moving company, we've talked about the car transportation. Now, let's talk about transportation for us and our 2 cats. So we actually opted to use our points to book our flights for ourselves. Because our estimates for the moving company and the car transportation company were coming in so much higher than we had initially thought, we opted to use the points instead of spending actual money at that point on the flight to lessen the blow just a little bit. We had plenty of points to cover the flight, so that was fully taken care of. What we did have to spend money on that we couldn't use points for were the tickets for our 2 cats. Those tickets ended up being a total of $250 for the 2 tickets. Since then, Delta has actually lowered their price and we freaking missed out on that discount. Go figure. But they've lowered the ticket, I believe, to around $90 per cat, so there you go. We also ended up renting a car for the first weekend when we got to San Diego because we didn't have our car at that point, and we definitely needed a car to go get our groceries, go get a couple supplies when we first moved in because we didn't have any of our moving stuff with us yet. So that car rental was a total of $280. We only had to use the rental car for that first weekend because our car came in soon after that. And then soon after that, we got in all of our moving boxes. So are you ready for the total amount that we spent on all of our moving costs? I'm not ready. I'm not ready for this. In total, for the moving company, for the car transportation company, and for the amount that we spent on all of our moving supplies, on that one U-Haul to move our couches, on the cat's flight tickets, on the rental car, everything included, all in, it was a total of $10,085. Here's hoping it's worth it. Oh. So if nothing else, what I want you to take away from this is that you should absolutely overestimate how much it's going to take for you to move if you're using a moving company and a car transportation company. Inevitably, it saved us from a lot of stress. And if I were to do this all over again, I would absolutely do the same thing. I would not drive a U-Haul across the country. So to me, that money was absolutely worth it, but it's really up to you to figure out if it makes sense in your situation. Again, don't forget to look at the description box. I will leave a bunch of links to help you in your move. If you enjoyed this video and found it helpful in any way, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up. And if you're interested in seeing what I'm doing with our new apartment, don't forget to subscribe. Thank you so much for watching, guys. As always, I really appreciate each and every one of you, and I hope you have an amazing day.